All right, everyone. All right, we're going to go in here. Thank you for joining me this afternoon on your end. It's a morning for me here in Vancouver. My name is Ray Walia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Launch. Under Launch, we own and operate a network of incubators, innovation studios, investment funds, and we do large-scale events. Today, I'm going to talk to you about taking your company global, and one of our companies, Launch Academy, is actively bringing in international companies into North America through Canada's business incubation and immigration programs, primarily startup visa, but we move into other parts of the world. So I'm happy to take questions and give answers throughout the presentation. If you can use the chat or the Q&A section of your Zoom panel, that'd be great. And I can turn on my video there. Also give some time at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that might be there. You will get an email from us after this presentation with a recording of the presentation, but also some additional links with more information, FAQs, the application process. But if you do have any other specific questions, something that you might not have wanted to talk about in this group setting, feel free to just reply back to that email. All right, so just a little bit about me. Again, Launch owns and operates a network of incubators, innovation studios, investment funds, and we do large-scale events. On the event side, Traction, you'll see the logo there in the middle. That is our event series. You can check it out online, tractionconf.io, C-O-N-F.io. We do large-scale events. We're one of the top 10 tech conferences in North America. We have CEOs from billion-dollar companies from the Bay Area coming in on our stage, as well as VCs, investors, and other industry experts, growth experts, to talk about probably one of the most important things to any technology company, which is traction. How do you acquire customers? How do you retain them? And how do you monetize them? With this upcoming, or with COVID, what we've had to do is postpone our daily or our annual conference, and I've changed it to weekly webinars. And so you can check out the webinars for free. They're twice a week now, actually, and same caliber of speakers on a regular basis. And you can see all the links on tractionconf.io as well. On the investment side, Victory Square is one of the funds that I helped set up, and they're actively making investments, 30 plus investments to date. Fans Unite, as you can see one of the logos there, that was one of our companies. It was a blockchain company that was designed to put more transparency and efficiency into the sports betting industry. And that company has now spun out of Victory Square and has been listed publicly on the Canadian Stock Exchange. We also have a film fund. The lower right-hand corner there, Dragged Across Concrete, is a film that we produced with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. And we do a number of other things. Under Launch, we also have a real estate investment firm, construction development and investment in real estate. But and the sports technology group is our innovation studio, changing the dynamics of how sports entertainment functions in the back office. So player contracts, sponsorship contracts, player data, health information. So everything behind the scenes in the sports industry. But what I'm most well known for is Launch Academy. And Launch Academy is our nonprofit arm. We do not take equity in the companies that we work with. We are really for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs, designed to help entrepreneurs scale and grow their businesses from ideation all the way to exit. We've got a number of different programs. I'm going to talk to you about the business immigration programs that we have today, but there's a lot of other things that we do. We also house a VR AR hub in Launch. Vancouver actually has the #2 VR AR industry in the world. We are also partnering with the Shenzhen Tech University to start exploring entrepreneurship in the Asian markets, and using the university as a startup hub as well. And a variety of other things at the Launch Academy. But today, as I mentioned, we're really here to talk about Canadian business incubation and business immigration programs. This presentation is primarily for the entrepreneurs, co-founders, CEOs, and executives. There are opportunities for individuals to find employment and job opportunities and career paths in Canada. We won't be talking specifically about those, but if that is you, feel free to continue to listen. There's probably some things I'd be able to pick up off of this, and hopefully we can help position you with one of our Canadian companies down the road. But today we're really going to talk about the global talent stream and startup visa. Express entry is another option if you qualified based off of skills and points. But global talent stream and startup visa are the primary ones that we're going to look at. So just a little bit about Launch itself. We've been around since 2012, incubated over 3,500 entrepreneurs, over 300 million raised, 2,500 jobs. As I mentioned, we don't take equity. We are a nonprofit. We do charge fees for our programs, but as a nonprofit, we try to keep that as low as possible. And as a community hub, what we do is we take those profits and invest it right back into the community with more events, more resources for the entrepreneurs in our network. Traction being one of them. So Traction is owned by Launch Academy and our partners at Boast AI, and it has become wildly successful. It's over 8 years now. This would have been our 8th conference this year, but we have transitioned to weekly webinars, which again have been wildly successful, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 attendees each session. So a lot of valuable content there. And based off of time differences, everything is pre-recorded or recorded and made available online after. We also do a series of CXO summits. These are events that we provide in various markets up and down the West Coast and into the US, Vancouver, Seattle, San Francisco, Toronto, New York. We hold these private dinners, private events where we connect CEOs in our network with other CEOs in those markets, as well as investors in those markets. And so it's a way for our CEOs to really start to expand their network, but also look for collaborations and investments and opportunities in across North America. I also sit on the Cascadia Innovation Corridor. The Cascadia is a name to the geographic location on the West Coast, and that's namely the province of British Columbia, the state of Washington, and the state of Oregon. So the 3 key cities being Vancouver, Seattle, Portland. The Cascadia region is uniting from not just at a government level, but universities, and more importantly, industry and companies, anchor companies in these markets are banding together to try to make this region known for some key technology stacks, namely blockchain, quantum computing, VR, AR, but there's other elements like AI and biotech and things like that that are instrumental in this region. And when I talk about key industry players, everybody knows 2 biggest companies in tech, Amazon, Microsoft, are based in Seattle. A lot of people don't know that they actually have a very large presence each in Vancouver, as well as a number of other large corporations. In Portland, you have Nike, there's Boeing, AT&T. A lot of other major corporations are part of this Cascadia initiative. And more recently, they've been talking about high-speed train connecting these 3 cities and maybe even forward on to San Francisco as well, up and down on the West Coast of North America. But it's not just the West Coast. In Canada as a whole, there is a big drive and push towards a tech economy and tech innovation. And the Canadian government itself has put its money where its mouth is and put over $1 billion towards this new innovation supercluster program. So just a little bit about the superclusters. A cluster of technology companies, say it's AI companies in a specific region, does more benefit to all the individual companies than if they were to do it on their own. A cluster provides an opportunity to collaborate, to share resources, to attract external resources because there is a concentration of AI companies in a region, but also talent and job opportunities, but also contracts and business. You take that to a super cluster level, and that's where you're not only focusing on the companies, but you're focusing on government, you're focusing on multinational companies coming in, you're focusing on accelerators, incubators, universities. So really bringing industries together to concentrate resources on specific tech stacks. And the way that Canada has approached it is there's 5 key superclusters across the country. On the Atlantic side, it's marine sciences and aquatic sciences in Nova Scotia. And then in Montreal and Quebec, it's artificial intelligence. In Toronto and Ontario, it is manufacturing and Internet of Things innovation. And then in the Prairie provinces, Saskatchewan, it is plant-based sciences and alternative proteins, agriculture. And then here in the West Coast in Vancouver, British Columbia, it is the digital supercluster. And I like to look at the digital supercluster as the transformative driver for how do you acquire data, how do you analyze that data, and then more importantly, how do you visualize it across industries and across non-tech industries as well. Healthcare is a big one that we're focusing on right now for obvious reasons. But when we talk about Canada and business immigration in Canada, Canada is a small market. For some industries and some companies, it could be more than enough. But for most, it is a great stepping stone into new markets, namely the US. Canada is positioned right above the US, and we have a very strong trade policies and joint ecosystems. We're really connected with each other, as much as sometimes in the news there is some disruptions, but relatively to other parts of the world, Canada and US are probably one of the most stable partnerships and will continue to be that way. Setting up in Canada, in particular Vancouver, we're a 2-hour drive from Seattle. We're a 2-hour flight from San Francisco. There's a lot of similarities in geographics, demographics, culture, and time zone being the same. So Vancouver does become a very natural setting for you to establish yourselves and move yourself forward into the US with little restrictions, because as a Canadian, you do have the ability to, or even a permanent residency in Canada, you do have the ability to travel to the US as needed. And more recently with the challenges with COVID and the shift to working from home and working remotely, it's becoming far more abundantly clear that you don't have to be headquartered in San Francisco to connect with customers, investors, channel partners, or other strategic stakeholders. You can do this from anywhere in the world, but I still strongly feel, and a lot of people agree with me, that San Francisco is still a necessary destination for your business. You do need to get into the US to do business, to connect with customers, to really establish relationships and reinforce those. But you don't have to be physically headquartered there on a regular basis. You can start to travel back and forth. You can do things remotely. You can have channel partners, but you need to travel. And as a lot of you might know, traveling as an international entrepreneur does become challenging. Traveling into the US from Canada is very easy. Traveling into other parts of the world from Canada, for that matter, is very easy. Canada has grown to become a very trusted trade partner, and quite frankly, it's one of the most trusted passports in the world. And so getting access to European markets, but more importantly, the Asian markets, is very easy from Canada and Vancouver in particular for the Asian markets. Which leads us to our MAPLE program and our Liberty programs. These are the immigration programs that we've introduced. So I highly want to emphasize that we are about incubation and immigration. So immigration is a byproduct of our incubation programs. We do want to focus on the success and growth of the business. If anyone's intention is just on permanent residency in Canada and just bringing their family here and immigrating and not even focusing on their business and not generally wanting to build a business, you will not be accepted into the program. And if you are, and that's discovered after the fact, you'll be removed from the program and all support will be denied. But that being said, we have been wildly successful in the last 2 years with our program. Over 11 cohorts, over 77 companies participating through the programs, all at various stages. But over 40 companies have landed in Canada and have started establishing their business and growing their business, hiring employees, and moving forward. But let's not beat around the bush. No matter where you are in the world, if you are in tech, you are in a fight for talent. And companies around the world have realized this, and it becomes challenging to try to find all the talent that you need for your business in your home market, because not only are you looking for people, but everybody else is looking for people. And the tech industry is changing so fast and growing so fast that it becomes really hard to train as many people as you need in your home market. So you do have to find talent anywhere you can. And a lot of that is internationally and bringing it into your company from an international perspective. And so Canada introduced the Global Talent Stream program. And this is a program where Canadian companies can identify international talent either in category A or category B, being non-technical or technical, non-technical being executives, senior management, leadership, and business development, finance, marketing, anything that doesn't directly involve the development of the product. Those are technical, category B. So engineers, software developers, UI, UX experts, quality control. Those type of people are category B. Category A being the non-technical. So Canadian companies can identify these people as long as they meet certain requirements from a company perspective. That individual would be awarded a 2-year closed work visa in under a 2-week processing time. And even during COVID, those processing times have been very close to hitting that 2-week mark. And so this has been leveraged quite heavily by Canadian companies, and it's been wildly successful. And we're finding international tech talent wanting to come to Canada, and more than happy to be on this 2-year closed work visa. What that means is you as the company bringing in this individual, that individual will be tied to your company for a minimum of 2 years. They cannot work for anybody else. If they do want to work for somebody else, they would have to secure a new visa and leave the country and come back with the new visa. And so it's very advantageous for anybody that is going through the effort to bring this person over. You know they are with your company for 2 years, and the processing time is 2 weeks, which makes it really competitive to find talent, secure them, and then start to bring them over. And this is leveraged by Vancouver tech companies, and this is an opportunity for me to kind of showcase the breadth of tech in Vancouver. If you're in the SaaS industry, you heard the names Hootsuite and Slack. If you're in quantum computing, D-Wave is a very common name in that industry, and a lot of people don't know that it's based in Vancouver. EA Sports, once again, if you're in the gaming industry or even any gamer, you've probably heard of EA Sports. And a lot of people don't know that EA is based here in Vancouver and Burnaby, just outside of Vancouver, and they just committed to expanding their campus. So they've got this amazing campus here. Lululemon, Vancouver success story. I have them here under tech because Lululemon is not just about clothing. Lululemon created an entire clothing industry called athleisure wear, and they do a lot of R&D and research into the textiles and the fabrics that they use, but also the e-commerce process that they use. And more recently, they acquired a AI company, health tech company called Mirror. So they are definitely a tech company, and plenty of fish. Zymeworks, if you're in the biotech industry, you know this name, but a lot of people don't know that Zymeworks is actually headquartered here in Vancouver. If you're in video streaming, you know the name Broadband TV. But it's not just the homegrown companies. All the multinationals have a large presence here. As I said, Microsoft, Amazon. Amazon's HQ2 is actually here in Vancouver. As much as there was a lot of hype of HQ2 being built in New York and Virginia, that has not come to happen. And prior to that, Amazon already had a large presence in Vancouver, and now they're building 4 new towers and will have over 10,000 employees here in Vancouver. Microsoft has a couple thousand employees. Apple, a couple, I think 500 employees. Facebook, same thing. Fujitsu, NBC, Nintendo, Finning, Google Stadia, their new gaming platform is based here in Vancouver. And Salesforce has a big team here as well, and they're committed to spending a lot more money in Canada. And it's not just the multinationals. Over 100 Bay Area companies have set up offices in Vancouver. Zenefits, Zillow, Lyft, Tile, Asana, Postmates. I've even heard recently that Pinterest is opening up an office in Vancouver. And this hasn't slowed down because of COVID. One of the key areas here is immigration. A lot of these companies have realized that there are challenges in the US, and there will continue to be challenges no matter which government comes in. A lot of damage has been done. There is a lot of backlog. A lot of things do need to filter through their immigration system to get corrected to be globally competitive. But these companies can't wait, and so they need to position themselves in a market where they can easily transfer talent and bring the best talent into the country. And so that global talent stream program has been very popular with them, but also the local talent that's here available is key. And again, travel back and forth, not just Canadians going into the US, but Americans coming into Canada is very easy. And so it has been very easy for these Bay Area companies to set up operations here, and kind of a no-brainer decision. Again, Vancouver to Seattle, 2-hour drive, Vancouver to San Francisco, 2-hour flight, LA, 2-hour flight, same time zone, same demographics, geographics, cultural similarities, but also the exchange rate kind of fits in their favor as well. There's been well over 100 and growing. And as I said, it's a lot of it has to do with immigration. The stress of immigration limits productivity. So U.S. business leaders, as CEOs, executives, understand the stress of heading through the airport, trying to get to meetings and conferences, and having visa issues. That's one level of stress from immigration. But there's a whole other level of stress immigration for staff that don't travel often, but are under immigration visas. And so in the US, particularly H-1B visas and Vancouver work visas, but internationally, those employees may not travel every week, but as engineers or local business development experts, they still have stress from immigration, because the fear of, if I leave the US to go visit my family in Nigeria, will I be let back into the US on the way back? That's a real fear. And reality is, a lot of times policies change and you're coming back and all of a sudden, sorry, you can't travel to the US anymore. Those are realities that everybody has to deal with. But thankfully, as Canadians, you won't have that issue, because Canada and the US have these policies. And if you are a permanent resident in Canada, you have the ability to travel back and forth quite quickly and easily. And that's not just those type of limitations. There's a number of other differences between how immigrants and visa holders are treated in the US and Canada. One of the main ones is how spouses and children are treated. In the US, there's a lot of limitations. A lot of times spouses aren't even allowed to work. Children are restricted from going to school. But in Canada, it's a very welcoming approach to family members. Everybody can receive permanent residency, easy to get the student visas and other work visas for your spouses. The duration of the visas are a lot longer and a lot more stable in Canada as well. And so we talked about the global talent stream, but by and far for entrepreneurs, the most popular and the most powerful is the startup visa program. And there's a number of other countries that have a startup visa program, but by and far the most successful globally has been Canada's. It's focusing specifically on international entrepreneurs that are ready to build successful businesses in Canada. It's focusing more on innovative businesses, so technology companies, companies that are leveraging technology in their business to some level of degree. They're here to create jobs for Canadians, but it doesn't mean moving all your operations to Canada and abandoning your home market. The focus is to be global scale businesses. And so a lot of our companies that said we've had over 77, all of them leverage the resources they have in their home markets. They continue to have operations there. They continue to have customers and team members and other strategic operations, because they are growing to be global businesses. You as entrepreneurs need to understand where opportunities lie, where resources are, where your strengths are, but also where your weaknesses are, and build your business to be resilient above and beyond that. And so the stuff that you've built in your home market, those activities are instrumental in you building a global business. And Canada is that next phase of your global business. And by no means are we looking to work with anybody that's ready to abandon everything in the home market and shift everything to Canada. That may be the case. It might be the best interest of your business to do that. But for the most part, we want entrepreneurs that are building global businesses and have those dynamics of growth. So a little bit about the Startup Visa program. It was designed actually at Launch Academy in 2012 by a bunch of investors. It was adopted by the Canadian government as a federal pilot program for 2013 for a 5-year period. And on that 5-year anniversary, it was determined that this is a successful program and they want to continue to keep it. And so it is now a permanent immigration program for 2018 onwards. One of the key aspects is a notion of active management in Canada. What this means is the entrepreneurs that are building these businesses are here to build businesses in Canada and actively grow them as international businesses from Canada. So if your intentions are just for immigration and you don't have any intentions of building a legitimate business in Canada, that goes against this notion of active management. And that is essentially disqualifying you from the program, and our support would be removed, but also you'd be faced with any repercussions of the Immigration Department of Canada for falsifying any intentions there. And one of the reasons why it's so powerful is because it's up to 5 founders plus spouses and children. So it's not just an individual immigration program. This is a program for the company, for the founders. And it does give you priority access to work visas and student visas. Typically, it was 4 to 8 weeks. Now with COVID, those times have gone longer, but we are still seeing companies like recently we had a company out of Korea, South Korea. They got their visas processed in 5 weeks. Now, if you look online, a lot of the timing for immigration programs or work visa issuance are 10, 15, 20 weeks because of COVID and backlogs and issues. But the Canadian government is actively working to push through that, and things hopefully do start to come back to normal. The silver lining for us is that unfortunately it's a problem that's faced globally. It's not just Canada that faces this. Every country in the world is having these issues and challenges with travel and immigration processing times. But Canada is continuing to be a far more stable position. And through the startup visa program, you also get priority access to permanent residency. And all the founders, all the spouses, all the children can apply for permanent residency in Canada. And that usually takes a 12-month period to process. Now, other typical processing times for permanent residency programs in Canada are 2 to 3 to 4 years, 5 years. In the US, permanent residency is actually the equivalent of a green card. And if you are from the Indian market or the Chinese market, a processing time for a green card in the US is over 10 years. And so in stark comparison, getting permanent residency in Canada in under 12 months is by far something really powerful. And to have that Canadian status is extremely beneficial around the world. And in order to qualify for the startup visa, you do require the support of a designated organization. So designated organization is an organization that's been identified by the Canadian government as somebody that they trust to vet and validate the companies that are coming through, so that the immigration officers don't have to spend a lot of time doing due diligence to justify, is this company legitimate? Are they really have an opportunity to grow a successful business? Are the founders and the other applicants proper applicants and actually instrumental to the business, or is there something sketchy going on here with their involvement in the business? And that allows the immigration officer to just focus on what they do best, on qualifying the individuals on an immigration level. And so a designated organization falls into one of 3 categories. So if it is a venture fund, the venture fund needs to commit to investing a minimum of $200,000 into your company. If it is an angel investor or an angel investment group, the investment level drops to 70,000, but they still need to make those investments. And both of those groups, that's pretty straightforward. Investment for equity, they'll give you a letter of support, but you are on your own to go through the program and figure out how you're gonna do all the paperwork and execute and transition your company into Canada, because that's not their business. Venture funds and angel investors don't do that work for you. Whereas incubators and accelerators, they have a different trajectory where you have to be an active participant in a program. And a lot of the programs that they design, in particular, the ones that we've designed here as our Maple and Liberty programs, are designed specifically to do that. They're helping you through that journey, validating your business, growing your business, but also looking at support and resources to help move your business, help you with immigration, help you with incorporation, help you with settlement. And also unique to Launch is we help your spouses and your children as well through our programs, which I'll touch on in a bit. There is also a stark difference between the type of programs and the type of requirements each incubator and accelerator has. I think there's over 30 designated organizations in this category right now. And so you have to do your research on each one. But for launch, like I said at the beginning, we do not take equity in the companies that we work for. We do charge program fees, but as we are for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs, I myself as an entrepreneur and investor really understand the value of equity. And we want to work with entrepreneurs that understand it as well. And so we don't feel that it's appropriate for you to be giving up equity in your business, especially at the stage where we like to work with companies where they already have a product to market. It should not be something that is taken lightly in terms of giving away equity. And so we want to make sure that we are not hampering our entrepreneurs. We're supporting them and helping them grow. But there are service fees that you do need to pay. And as I said again at the top, is that as a nonprofit, we try to make sure that we keep those fees as low as possible, but also any proceeds go right back into the community that you are now joining, and you get direct benefit from all those activities. There are requirements that the company needs to meet for the Startup Visa program. As I said, it is up to 5 co-founders, but each co-founder must own a minimum of 10% of the new Canadian company, and they need to demonstrate that they have an active role in the business. So somebody joining as an investor, or you want to put your brother or somebody else onto the company just to get them through immigration, they do not qualify. You have to have an active role in the business. And that's part of the due diligence that we do as launch to make sure that the companies that we're working with, the entrepreneurs that we're working with, are legitimate. The group together, the 5 co-founders, so whether it's 1 co-founder, 2, 3, 5, it doesn't matter. You do have to have minimum 10%, but collectively you need to have more than 51% to show that you actually control the company. So you can have other other investors as part of the shareholder group, but they would not qualify for the startup visa. So some of our companies are based out of the U.S. They have taken Delaware, or taken money from U.S. investors, and they've set up Delaware companies. So their corporate structure is required to be different. But as I said, the group itself needs to have more than 51% control of the Canadian company that's being set up in order to qualify for the startup visa. That ownership level and that structure can change down the road. If you take on more investment or you bring in other partners, that's totally fine. But at the time of applying, these are the criteria that need to be met. And the Canadian company, more importantly, must either own the IP or demonstrate that it has direct control and management over the IP. And so this is where, again, we have some of our US companies with Delaware corporations now setting up a Canadian corporation. US investors might want to see the IP held in the Delaware company, but in order to qualify for the Startup Visa program, it is in their best interest to help the entrepreneurs get this set up properly, because it's going to grow their business and grow their investment. So what a lot of our companies do is set up a licensing agreement, or scenarios where the IP being developed in Canada is for the Canadian market and has opportunity to scale and grow in Canada. And the group will manage the US IP from Canada, but the ownership will stay with the Delaware Corp. This is all content and things that we will discuss in our program with you, and help you connect with lawyers that can help you determine what this structure needs to look like. And by default, everybody does still require to meet the immigration requirements set up by Immigration Canada. So each co-founder must have level 5 English. You must meet the immigration requirements for personal funds and any other default requirements for immigration that you would normally face, such as criminality, background checks, security, health checks, financial fraud, history of fraud, etc. And so Launch, as we talked about, has 3 key business incubation programs that offer immigration: our Maple program, our Liberty program, and our Startup Express. But we do have other programs that we've developed: our Launchpad program, our Lean Accelerator Entrepreneur program, our Traction Conference, our CXO events. So once you do join Launch Academy, you have the opportunity to take advantage of all these different programs. And as I said, if you're coming in the business immigration programs, once you arrive in Canada, the funds that you paid into those services, guess what? That's what pays for the Launchpad programs. So it pays for those CXO dinners, and you are now able to participate in those and take advantage of those as a company in Canada. But it's not just about immigration. We talk a lot about immigration here, but our programs are really about business tactics, strategies. Again, we spend time on IP, taxes, the foundation of your business, setting up operations in a new country and doing business into the US. There's a lot of programs that are available in Canada to Canadian companies that are not available in other countries, and you might not even be aware of those programs. And we're here to help you navigate that and to take advantage of R&D out of university programs that you can leverage across Canada. There's tax credits for research and development. There's tax credit for innovation. There's different grants that you can get. And so there's a lot of advantages about being a Canadian company that we're here to help you with. So I'm going to kind of go through this really quickly, but I said you are going to get an email. There will be resources, guides to our different programs, and happy to answer any questions that you might have afterwards. But also in emails, you can follow up, and we're happy to answer any questions. So our Maple program is designed specifically for companies that already have a product in market. There is a level of financial stability. Either the companies raise funds or they have revenues to support their expansion and growth. We really want companies that are ready to expand and grow their business and are looking at Canada, the US, other markets, but Canada being the stable foundation for them in North America to do these operations. The program is 5 phases over 18 to 24 months. And when I say 5 phases, it's broken down into 5 phases so that you're not spending money, but more importantly, time doing things that are not important. And so we want you to do things at the appropriate time, trust our process. We've done this for multiple years now. As I said, the program was designed at Launch Academy, so we know the ins and outs of it. But you as a company and you as a business might come to a realization in phase 2 that this program is not designed for you, or it's not meeting the needs that you thought you had. And so being set up in 5 phases allows you the opportunity to pull out and avoid any additional expenses and time commitments doing things that are not in the best interest of your business or your family or your co-founders. In order to apply, it's an online application. The fees start at $28,000. It is a 1 fee per company, and we do not charge additional fees based off how many co-founders there are, with the one exception being in phase 4, when you are in Vancouver working out of our office. If you have 2 team members, you will pay for 2 desks in our office. If you have 4, you're going to pay for 4 desks. Those are small additional fees just to cover our overhead to house more people in our office. But if you have new employees joining, we try to help accommodate that during the 4 months that you're working out of our office. But the main expenses are on a per company basis. The Liberty program is a newer program that we developed specifically for earlier stage companies. So if you're at the ideation stage, you're kind of still working on your product, you're still working on the product market fit, but more importantly, you probably don't have customers, meaning you don't have a lot of traction or online data and resources available to validate the legitimacy of your business and the potential success of your business. And this is information that is critical for Immigration Canada and the Startup Visa program, because that's information that helps determine the legitimacy of your business and the qualification to start a visa. And so we've created the Liberty program to help work with the companies through these stages, early stages, to collect that data and work with them to essentially validate your business. We have a 2 to 3 month course that we run you through online to help you do product validation, problem statement solutions, and then customer surveys, presenting your company, your pitch, your investor deck, and things like that, that add value not only to your business on a day-to-day basis, but also help you qualify for the Startup Visa program. Similar to the Maple program, the companies do have to be financially stable. They have to have raised funds or are self-financed. We don't expect you to have revenues at this stage because your product more than likely probably is not released. And if it is, the revenue shouldn't probably not be significant enough to justify expanding and growing. But there might be strategic reasons for you to want to come to Canada and set up in North America. And we're happy to help support that as long as you can meet the early due diligence requirements. And once again, program is 5 phases, but this is over 24 months because there's a little bit more work that needs to be done in the early stages to help with the validation. And it is invite only. And the reason why it's invite only is because we're working with the early stage companies, the number of applications that we would get around the world would be quite significant. So we do want to work with accelerators, incubators in different markets, investors in different markets. We have other key partners that we work with that help us vet and validate these companies, and then they're invited to apply if it is a right fit for them. And the fees are a little bit higher, 32,000 USD, but again, it's over 5 phases over the course of the 24 months, similar to the Maple program. And so if at any point you do feel that this is not the right fit for you and you want to pull out, then you don't have to pay the full fees. Startup Express is probably our rarest intake for our 3 programs, because this is specifically more for entrepreneurs that are further along with the development of the company. They are actively growing. There's a lot of need or requirements for them to travel around the world or stay in their home market to really focus on the rapid success and growth of their business. And so what this company does will skip the work permit process and just go straight to permanent residency and come to Canada after permanent residency is issued. This program is 4 phases, so it's shorter, 16 to 24 months. And once again, invite only. Prices and fees are a little bit higher because we do have to do more work upfront to get the paperwork and documentation in place to help through the due diligence process. But the realities are, it is in the best interest for the entrepreneur and the company, and for us to allow that entrepreneur to go straight to the permanent residency stage and not have to come to Canada under work permits until after they've got their permanent residency secured. And once again, invite only. We do have partners that can help recommend you into the program if this is the right fit for you. And as I said, it is 5 phases. I'll go through this really quickly because I'm running short on time here. Phase 1 is all done online while you're in your home countries. And this is webinars and information sessions where we want to make sure you have as much information as possible to determine, is this the right program for you? Should you be moving forward? And so this is where we're going to connect you with immigration experts. We're going to connect you with legal experts, lawyers, incorporation experts, tax experts, accounting experts, government experts to help you navigate the government programs and really understand how your company can benefit by being in Canada, banking experts, and real estate experts. If you decide you don't want to move forward, then that's it. You don't have to commit any more time, money moving forward, and just pull out. Phase 1 is, I believe, 4,000 US. And so lasts roughly about 1.5 months, and you get private office hours with all of these experts after their webinars. And so you can talk to them personally one-on-one. So there's a lot of value and benefit here. But as I said, if you do decide not to move forward, then that's it. You don't incur any more expenses. If you decide to move forward, then you move into phase 2. And depending on which program, Maple or Liberty, there's some variations into what's happening in phase 2. But again, this is all online. And if you're in Maple, phase 2 is where you will start applying for your work permits and identifying when you're going to come to Canada in phase 4. So just skipping ahead to phase 4, it's a landing pad when you're in Vancouver, working at our office. It's a cohort, and it starts either January, May, or September. And so you pick which one you want to come to. Your road mapping in phase 2 will kind of work backwards from when you want to come to what's realistic, timing, visa timing, processing times, and also things that you might need to prepare on your end to qualify. So in that gap between while you're waiting for your visas to when you actually arrive in phase 4, you are taking phase 3. And this is where we provide you with additional resources, again, all online while you're in your home country. We do a fundraising workshop series to help you understand how to raise money in North America, present your company properly. We do a program for your spouses and your children to help them get prepared and answer any questions or opportunities that they might have. A lot of our founders, their spouses are professionals and they want to start their career or look at job opportunities in North America. And so we provide some support there. And then we also have growth marketing programs to help you understand growth marketing in North America and opportunities around scaling and growing your business. So a lot of research and data and information that you can digest before you come to Canada. And then when you are in phase 4, it's really executing against your roadmap and doing all the things that you need to do to get your business set up, your family secure and set up, but also networking, mentors. In the roadmap, you're going to help us identify where we can help you, what resources you need to grow your business, and we'll start connecting with those. And then in phase 4, you should also apply for your permanent residency. Like I said, it does take 12 months from the time that you apply. And after phase 4, you will go into phase 5, and that's where we continue to support you during those 12 months while you're waiting for your PR. And you get access to our Launchpad program. You get access to additional perks and benefits and resources that are designed to help you with your business and grow your business. As we talked about costs, there is a fee for each program, but we do not take equity. So that's a very important distinction with our program and a lot of others. But there are additional fees that you're going to face. And these are fees that you would face no matter where you're setting up your business around the world. These are business expenses that you should be writing off in your business, the incorporation fees, accounting fees, immigration fees, travel and accommodations, and of course, living expenses for you, your family. All co-founders need to meet the immigration minimums, but also be realistic that if you do want to have a comfortable lifestyle, you do have to pay for it. But as you can see from the picture on the right there, Vancouver in particular, it's one of the best places to live in the world. The geographic location, the political climate, the economic stability, even with COVID and everything else that's happening around the world, Canada is faring a lot better and will continue to be one of those desired destinations in the world, not just for your business purposes, but for lifestyle and family. And so, in my opinion, all these fees and these challenges that you are faced with are well worth it. And relatively speaking to other countries and other programs around the world, it's a lot more efficient in the Canadian market. And in particular, if you are targeting the US market, there's no better place other than the US to enter the US market than Canada. So we're going to kind of wrap it up here. So why Canada? Again, good pulse of the global market. We talked a lot about the US, but let's not overlook the fact that Canada has a strong trading relationship with almost every country around the world. The Canadian passport gets you good access anywhere in the world. The close proximity to the US cannot be overlooked. The trade agreements that we have will continue to allow Canadian businesses to pretty much function seamlessly into the US. There is a lot of strong government support in Canada for Canadian entrepreneurs, Canadian businesses. And like I said in the last slide, you cannot overlook the good quality of life available to you, your family, and your children in North America, in Canada specifically. All right, so you have all my contact information. You are going to receive a follow-up email, and all the details of this presentation will be there in a recording, but also links to our FAQ and a detailed program guide of a breakdown of the program. And if you do have any specific questions, feel free to email me, and I'm happy to answer, or I'll get somebody on my team to answer if I can't answer. But just gonna give a few minutes to allow anybody to ask any questions. All right, doesn't look like there's any questions. Thank you for taking the time for joining me, and hopefully we can help you grow your business and expand your business into North America. And feel free to email me, or if you do want to apply, all the links to apply will be available in the follow-up email as well. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day.